On tap, Rogue Dead Guy Ale.
Better beer, authority, better beer.
Hi, I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority. Today, we're talking about Rogue Dead Guy Ale from the Rogue Brewery in Newport, Oregon. The brewery has been in business since 1988, and they brew over 30 different beers according to their website. Dead Guy Ale is a German Maibock with 6.5% ABV and 40 IBUs. The name and the logo are a tribute to the Mayan Day of the Dead, Los Días de los Muertos. Rogue claims that they use no chemicals, additives, or preservatives. They list 8 ingredients on their website: 4 malts, 2 hops, water, and Rogue's proprietary yeast known as Pac-Man yeast. Let's talk about yeasts. Yeasts are micro-organisms, a type of single-celled fungus. In a process called fermentation, yeasts convert sugars from the malt into ethanol and carbon dioxide. Even though yeasts have been used for centuries, it wasn't until the 1850s that Louis Pasteur proved that fermentation was conducted by living organisms. Scott, a lot of people like this beer. Are you like a lot of people?
I don't know if I'm like a lot of people, but I like this beer. I like most Rogue products. Had quite a few of them. Dead Guy Ale definitely is one of my top beers. Definitely enjoy it. I'd drink it a few times.
Joby, how's the flavor for you? I mean, does this have a lot of flavor?
It starts off with a real burst of hops, I would say, and then it kind of mellows out. For an ale, you would think the aftertaste more would be a lot hoppier, the aftertaste would stick in your mouth for a while. But this, it kind of hits you good in the beginning, and then it just levels out. So for me, this is a pretty good ale. I wouldn't mind, like Scott said, bumming a beer or two off of his 6-pack.
Jeremy, what do you think about Joby's answer here?
I mean, it's a Joby answer.
Typical. I was going there too.
Also, to answer your question, there's not a lot of people like Scott. Or Scott's not like a lot of people, but it's not in a bad way either. He's just his own different guy. But I was pleasantly surprised by the beer, and like I was saying earlier, Dead Guy Ale just it gives off a different picture than what the beer really is. I think it's got a lot to offer. It's very it's a medium to full taste, and I think it'll surprise a lot of people.
So you're pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely.
Scott, what kind of rating would you give this?
I'd give it a 7. I definitely would drink it over some other beers. There are a few other beers that I'd pick over it, though. I think it's a great beer. Rogue does a good job of making most beers, and this is definitely not an exception. It's a great beer.
Okay. Joby, is this an exciting beer?
Oh, well, it's getting there. I agree with Scott. I also rate this a 7. For an ale, the taste, is all right. Like I said earlier, it hits you in the beginning, then smooths out. The color is amber, which I like. Overall, it's a solid beer. I wouldn't mind seeking it out later. I give it, like I said, a 7, James.
Okay. Where are you at?
For 40 IBUs, like we were discussing, it's really surprising. They do a great job at balancing it with the malt. I think it's got some caramel flavors, but throughout the beer, it's got just a very strong kind of strawberry taste that I enjoy. I don't think I could sit down and have 8 to 10 of them, but I could definitely appreciate 3 or 4 in a sitting, and I give it an 8.
Okay, Scott, he mentioned strawberries. Are you getting strawberries in here?
No,
what are you getting?
I mean, I get it kind of it's almost hard to put your finger on it, but it smells more butterscotchy and caramely, and it's a good beer. I will say one thing about this beer, though. If you're going to be going between different beers, you're going to taste a difference right away. There's going to be a big contrast between this and, say, a Miller Lite. So I would stick with hoppy beers if you're going to stay with this. Say with an IPA or something of this kind of in the IBU scale, in between the 30 and 50 scale, because otherwise you're going to really probably kind of throw your senses off a little.
Jeremy, do you think of this as a hoppy beer?
No, like I said, I think they do a really good job at balancing it. I mean, I know just because of the IBUs and that, it does have a decent amount of hops in it, but I don't think that you would drink it and automatically think that it's too hoppy. And I think everybody really needs to go out and check it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you haven't had it before. And you know, with coming up with 30 different beers in 20 years, I'm even more excited to go out and check out Rogue's products and you know, see what else they have to offer.
Okay, well, Rogue Dead Guy Ale gets 7.3 days on the Mayan calendar. If you think Dead Guy Ale is Dead Guy awesome, then let us know in the comments section. Also, let us know what kind of beers you would like to see on the show. Head to betterbeerauthority.com to find out what beers in the BBA fridge will be on the show in the near future. Thanks for watching. I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority.
Better Beer Authority.